suppose like your Rolls Royce from the same era would be about $15,000 to $23,000 new. So this was at the $15,000 mark. Right. So it was right there as a close competitor.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I still think the engineering on the Hissos are better.
Oh yeah, I think so. The Rolls Royce wasn't Rolls Royce; it was still making its name, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think Hispano Suiza walked so Rolls Royce could run.
Yeah. Now there was no synchro mesh.
No, zero
back
synchros.
then. You're still about 7, 8 years away from synchro mesh, but shifts very nicely. When she wants to run, you can feel it. Car came out, the speed limit was like 35 miles an hour. Welcome to an episode of Jay Leno's Garage, once again being visited by royalty from the Nethercutt Collection. This is the 1923 Hispano Suiza H6B. This is a car I've lusted after for a long time. Not this particular body style, but the two-door model that was like, kind of looked like a better looking 32 Ford, I guess you'd say. A little coupe, light, fast, just an amazing engine. Mark Burkett was the designer of these cars, and he was just a brilliant engineer, held a lot of patents. He's the guy that enabled front wheel brakes to go on cars because in those days you had cable brakes. He invented the series of levers and arms that would allow you to turn the wheel without pulling. See, the reason a lot of cars didn't have brakes in the front, you turn the wheel and the rod would pull the brake, so you wind up jamming the brake on the wheel that you were turning. He made that a device which allowed it to rotate around. Just brilliant, just a brilliant engineer. He was Swiss. Hispano Suiza means Spain and Switzerland. This was right up there with the Rolls Royce, the Pierce Arrow, any of those cars. This was Europe's finest, and I think one of the prettiest. It's a 6-cylinder. But it's big. It's 400 cubic inch 6, I believe, and quite powerful. You could go 75 miles an hour in this thing all day long. They were just amazingly beautiful, delicate automobiles. When you see the dashboard, you see the instrumentation. It's one of the prettiest dashboards I've ever seen. You got splash pans inside the engine compartment to keep dirt and water from coming up and kind of being thrown on the engine. But let's meet Cameron from the museum. Cameron, how you been, my friend?
Great, Jay. Thanks for having me back.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Boy, this is a beauty.
So one of my personal favorites.
Yeah. How did it drive over here? Okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's actually been a while since she's been out, so she's still finding her fluid levels.
Right.
And peeing a little bit of coolant, but like you said, splash guards, nothing on the engine bay at all.
Yeah. Well,
still clean under there.
Let's show them that engine bay. Let's take a look here. This is pretty amazing.
And these screws make everything a lot easier too.
Yeah, rather than the clumsy pull-up ones. Well, as you can see, I mean, look at that. This is your water pump right here. There's your oil level right there. Your oil goes in here.
But the reader works great.
This is real mechanical art, you know. It really is just a pretty motor. Wow.
I think it has the prettiest engine bays of the era, even over Rolls-Royce and Duesenberg, honestly.
And look at the belt. It's not a continuous belt where you slide it over. I mean, you have to unhook the belt and then clip it together to put it in there. Yeah. I think, as I remember.
A little tricky. Yeah. And you got your dual distributor caps as well. Those pop off nice and easy.
Boy, that's really nice, isn't it? And we have 2 spark plugs per cylinder. Is that what we have here on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Very
so
nice.
The other are on the other side.
Right.
I mean, inline 6s are they make a lot of sense.
Well, inline 6s were always the smoothest.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Low end torque, 120 horsepower.
Which is quite fast for the day.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty light car. It's not as heavy as it seems, is it?
No, so the chassis without the tires and no fluids, they weighed a little bit over 2,600 pounds.
Boy, that's nothing.
No, and this is all technology from 1919 when the H6 came out,
right.
Up until 1933. You could feel the difference in advancements in engineering with the J12.
Yeah, but this is the one where they really earned their medal, this one here.
Oh, absolutely.
It was fast, quiet. Oh, we put that down. I don't want to break your arm. Okay.
Mark Burkett was a very, very intelligent man, very ahead of his time. There we go.
And again, it's South check body.
Yes, so this is a completely transformable body, patented by Southcheck amongst a lot of other patents that he
And
did in a lifetime.
transformable means the roof comes off.
Yes, so this is called a Cabriolet de Ville.
Right.
The roof will come off and fold backwards.
Gotcha.
We like to leave it on. The tan interior, we call this paint rust.
Right.
It's like a caramelish red-brown, but our nickname's Rust, and the tan complements it very well. And you'll see the windows right here, they're
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
a little loose
A little loose, yeah. But
by design.
and how do those come? Oh, I see.
So there is a window lock actually on the door. It might be engaged.
Oh, I see. There's no crank. You just push them.
no,
here's
that's
the
the
crank.
crank, yeah, in the
Here we
middle.
go. Here we are. I see. There you are.
So the ergonomics are terrible, but the design's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. I see. I see how they're working. Then yeah,
Yeah, because they're a little wobbly. Good enough for now.
good enough for now. Okay. Yeah, good-looking car. And of course, four-wheel brakes, which not many people had. 1919.
No, that was
1920.
the big thing that Burkett did, was the four-wheel servo-assisted drums.
Right,
and
right.
the brakes actually are very good stopping. The hard part about these brakes is when you're actually at a stop,
Oh yeah.
keep them hold, but you could feel it in your feet.
Well, it's a
them
power
engaging.
brake, but it uses a vacuum. But it's got, as Henry Vaughn used to say, the safety of steel from pedal to wheel. You didn't have a little tube, copper tube with fluid in it. Oh, that's too dangerous. You know, so you had that. So that was kind of cool. Just the prettiest dashboard ever. You know, all the instrumentation is so dainty. And what is that? Is that an oiler on the floor there?
So those are actually the fuses.
Oh, fuses, of course, yeah, okay. Very nice.
And then your exhaust valve is right to the
Yeah.
left of that, which is nice because you can actually operate it with your foot while you're driving. The driver's seat and passenger seat's pretty tight up there, considering how big the car actually is.
Right, right. And of course, you have that famous emblem.
Oh yeah.
That was named for a French flyer, Guymer or Gaillet, something like that. He was a hero of World War I, and that stork was meant to honor him and his service to the French during the war. And it's just a great looking
It's very
emblem,
pretty.
isn't it? Yeah, it really is.
Very
It really
pretty
is.
mascot.
And of course, you have a stone guard in the front. This is to keep rocks from damaging your radiator, from being thrown up by a vehicle in front of you.
They still managed to make everything look pretty back then.
Yeah, beautiful headlights. And this was quite an expensive car in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, so brand new price back in 1923 was $15,000. We actually just recently found a photo of it in a showroom in France in
Oh, really?
23.
This actual car, huh?
This actual car.
Wow.
Because we are unsure how many Southcheck bodies they made for the H6. There was 2,158 H6s in total built
Right.
between the regular 6, 6B, and
Right.
6C. So they made quite a bit from 1919 to 1933.
Well, it's a very successful design. I mean, I drove them like 40 years ago and was really impressed. It's just unbelievably smooth, but everything just kind of clicks into place,
Yeah.
you know? Oh, it's just great.
Well, 2 to 3, you don't need a double clutch,
Right.
but sometimes if you catch it right,
Yeah.
it'll just pop right in by itself. You could just tap the stick.
Let's see the other side of the hood and see what it's like under there.
Yeah, that's the pretty side.
Well, look at that. Look at that intake manifold. And this is your advance and retard for your magneto. This steering box, horn, intake manifold here, updraft carburetor, which was fairly common back in the day. You had an updraft because if you had a downdraft carburetor, they still hadn't perfected needles and seats and all that. So if you had an updraft, the car would sit with the needle like, but gas would slip past it, get into the cylinder, and then when you turned it, you'd hydraulic the cylinder. You could blow the cylinder head. So,
And this carburetor isn't exactly the one you want to keep testing. It's kind of difficult to
Yeah.
get into it and
yeah.
tamper with.
And what is this here, I wonder? I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know.
But as you can see,
Could have been a vacuum
just beautiful,
attachment.
beautiful water plate, says Hispano Suiza on it.
I love how they kept the dash too, even though it's separated by the carburetor.
Yeah, yeah. All right, you can shut that down.
So she's a best of show, or excuse me, not best of show, best in class winner at Pebble Beach,
Right.
1993. And I'm very happy that we're doing this episode together because This car honestly has only seen the light of day a few more times since '93. She's one of the ones that stay in the Grand Salon quite a bit,
Right,
so
right.
I'm very happy to get her out on the road. This week's my first time ever driving it. It's always
Great.
been a favorite of mine.
Well, let's drive it and see how it goes.
Let's do it.
Okay, first go to battery. These are fuel pumps.
Yeah, put it one more up,
One more up.
and then press the starter right here.
This one here.
Yep. There we go.
You know, it's funny, sometimes people get in these old cars and go, why is it 3 speeds instead of 4 speeds? Well, actually, back in the day, 3 speeds was more desirable. That means you had a torquey engine and you had one less shift you had to do to go down the road. So people actually thought 3 speed was better than 4 speed.
Yeah, the less shifting, the nicer the car you had, basically.
Right.
I know Duesenbergs, is it true that in the beginning they were 4 speeds, but
Every Duesenberg left the factory with a 4-speed.
and they'd blow them up?
They couldn't take the torque, they all broke, and they pulled them all back and replaced them, I believe, with a white truck 3-speed.
Yeah, and 3 is really all you need for this car. I mean,
Right.
like you said, it'll probably do about 60, 70 miles an hour.
Right?
And Mark Burkett, his main goal for the design of the H6 was dependability, speed, elegance, and style. And I think he achieved all that in this thing. Not bad for...
I can't remember if Nikolai Tesla had a Hispano.
I wouldn't be
I thought
surprised.
maybe he did, but I wasn't sure. There was somebody who used to drive one on the Long Island Expressway when it was built in like 22.
Okay.
And he used to go to 70, 75 miles an hour with showgirls and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we talked about it on the J12 episode, but I think the main reason why Hispano Suiza never came to fruition was because of the Spanish origin, Swiss engineering, and like this car, sold in France, built in France. People just didn't really know its origin.
Well, see, what happened was Mark Burkett, he got hired by the Spanish to either work on the electric subway cars or buses or something. So he moved his organization to Spain and then went back to building cars as well.
I find it particularly fun driving a car that has a wartime aero engine.
Oh, yeah.
Salchik was a really, really interesting guy as a coach builder.
And where did he build them?
France.
France. It was
I believe.
yeah.
I'm almost positive France. This car was delivered new February 17th, 1923, but we don't have official confirmation on the original owner. We have a name,
Right.
but if our archivist Lori can't find it, it's probably just non-existent history.
Yeah.
You can feel that torque.
I think Guy Niermer was the guy's last name.
Yeah, Guynemer.
Yeah. He was quite a war hero. Shot down 8 times before they finally got him. Imagine being shot down out of the sky, one of those things, 8 times. All right, give me another plane. All right, give me another plane.
I'm going back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'd be good after one, I think. The Pretty Stork turned out to be a good story for it.
Yeah.
When did the word mascot change to hood ornament?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen them both still used.
How are those servo brakes treating you?
You know, they feel like juice brakes.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he was a real genius. When you look underneath you see how it works. I was trying to explain it to you before, but like Porsche had a metal rod going to the wheel.
Yeah.
If you turned the wheel, it would pull the front, so they would put brakes in the front. He made some kind of ball and socket arrangement so you could go around the corner and apply the brakes at the same time.
Yeah, we were on a hill yesterday just doing some road testing, and it'll work on a turn. even downhill.
Yeah. And you can keep up with modern traffic in this thing.
Yeah. If you close your eyes, we're just heading to work. This was restored in '92. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised. It'll go up to about 70, 72 when we sit, but it'll bump right back down when we move, so.
I like that you get your elbow out the window in it.
Yeah, it's not pretty comfy. Passenger seat, we're kind of close to each other, but suspension's phenomenal, soaking up bumps at 100 years old, not bad.
Drives very nicely. So first is where third would be.
Yes, and then reverse is where
second
fourth
is where
would be.
reverse would be in an American car.
I believe 145-inch wheelbase on this girl.
It's a big wheelbase. I remember seeing one of these, I think it was in 1922, two-seater, short wheelbase, you know, convertible top, like a 32 Ford light body, and just looked so fantastic. I mean, it is that makes it a little heavier than it needs to, but even so, it's only 2,600 pounds.
Yeah, the chassis is really light considering the era. But it's hard to really get total weight down for these cars.
Yeah.
With the coach builders, you never know.
Right.
I'm pinging a little. Give her a little more fuel. Yeah, and I'm no mechanical expert, but single overhead cams, inline sixes, it's like a tractor engine. Everything's right there for you to point out and to understand, and it's real easy to work on.
That might actually just a combination of stuff in the fuel line, you know?
Yeah,
it hasn't been running probably 20 years, right?
We've had it out that was 6 years ago. We checked the tank, tank's clean.
Yeah. I like how dainty the needles are on the gauges.
Yeah, very flush. Suppose a car, let's see, a Rolls Royce from the same era would be about $15,000 to $23,000 new. So this was at the $15,000 mark. Right. So it was right there as a close competitor. But I still think the engineering on the Hissos are better.
Oh yeah, I think so. The Rolls Royce wasn't Rolls Royce; it was still making its name, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think Hispano Suiza walked so Rolls Royce could run.
Yeah. When she wants to run, you can feel it. When this car came out, the speed limit was like 35 miles an hour.
And that was moving then too. I mean, a Model T did what?
Model T would do 42, 43. Now there was no synchro mesh.
No, zero synchro.
You're still about 7, 8 years away from synchro mesh, but shifts very nicely.
Yeah, 2 to 3, I have shifted it without double clutching, and it'll give you that little jolt, but it does. It doesn't really complain much.
Well, I want to thank Cameron and the Nethercutt Collection for bringing us over. This is really a fabulous car to drive. You know, it's a car you don't mind driving at 45 miles an hour just because seeing all the gauges, how all the needles are rock steady and go to the numerical equivalent on the face, you know. There's none of this nonsense going on. Just such a wonderful car to drive. Well, I'm glad we got a chance to bring her out. Cameron, thank you, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Jay. Thanks for having me back. I'm glad we got to get this girl out for you.
Yeah, if you like seeing more of these real kind of old beauties, go to Nethercutt Collection in Silmar, California. It's right up the street from my garage. I go there all the time. See you guys.
He steals parts.
That's right. I do steal parts.
Well, as always, Jay,